see what's coming.
Yes,
You
yes.
have something on your heart about the watchman.
Yes, so we've had just a powerful word from Chuck,
Yeah.
speaking into this nation and giving us some insight, prophetic insight, apostolic
I
insight.
also believe, because we have viewers watching from all over the world, this applies to everybody.
I agree totally. And one of the things Chuck said was that now is the time for watchmen. Now is the time for lookout watchmen. And it was an interesting word. We don't use that word in our day-to-day vocabulary. So I've been looking at it and just praying with the Lord over it. And it's a couple of times it comes. One of them is in Mark chapter 13, verse 37. Jesus says, and he's prophesying about the future. He's saying there will be wars, rumors of wars. There'll be famine and hardships, but that won't be the end. This will happen, that won't be the end. And he ends by saying, and at the end, I want you to stay alert and to watch. What I say to you, I say to everyone. So all of us are included in this call, to watch. And as I look at that word, it means to be alert, to be aroused, to be awoken. It's got elements of revival in it. And as we've said already, we're coming through lockdown. God's brought us into a place where He's stripped things away. He's reviving. He's returning us to Him. And it's the closest I can think of applying that word in our lives is when we would talk about, maybe we've been looking at what we eat, and we would say, I'm watching what I eat.
That's right.
You see, it's not just a passive observation. It's an active observation.
That's so
because
true.
I'm aware of what I'm looking at, but it has a distinction on what I'm letting into my life. Or I have 3 children, as I told you, and I would leave them with friends, and I'd say, watch the children. There's an element of responsibility on the watching. They're not just going to let the children run into the traffic. There's a responsibility. And in the same way, when Jesus says to us, watch, in this season of lockdown, in this season, whatever this year is throwing at us, whatever we're coming through, God says to us, watch. And He's wanting us to watch the things that we watch. He's giving us a responsibility to put guides and gates. So even as we think about what's been happening lately, with whether it's race, whether it's royalty, whether it's the situations that we're going through, we've actually got this call to watch what we watch.
That's right.
So for us in my generation, we've got to be so careful with social media.
Yeah.
We can actually choose to watch other people's opinions or to dive into the Word of God and to watch with the Lord. I'm sure on your TV, I've already heard some fantastic interviews. There's so many good stories about race out there, for example.
Yeah.
If we would choose to watch like Jesus said, watch what comes in, guard what comes in, and to take responsibility. So even as you're watching, you're not just watching a show with entertainment, but you're praying with us.
That's right.
You're standing with us
That's
for
right.
revival. You're standing with us for the nations around the world. You've got a responsibility with what God is showing us. And as we watch, God is stirring up faith.
Yeah.
And I feel that these seasons, and whether this is what I've come through in Africa, but it's what we've been talking about at Revival Fires Church, it's what I believe God is doing. These are the most exciting times.
Yeah.
They are trying times, but there is a spirit of revival that's coming. And as we watch with God, He stirs faith in our hearts.
What are some of the things that we should watch out for? Because right now there's so much mixture. Everything is going on. And when you begin to watch, I love what your father-in-law said earlier on when he was being interviewed. We watch for the day as well as the night. Yes. And the days we watch through the word of the Lord. The night is the turmoil that's going on. How can people navigate out of seeing negative all the time, but focus on the word of God?
Exactly. As you said, focus on the word of God. And there's something about this day and age, there's so many opinions around that it's very easy just to, instead of going to God directly, going to the Word, going to these kind of conversations with leaders, with friends, that we can lean on each other, where we go to other people's opinions. And you've said what Trevor Baker said. I want to quote him because it's a great thing. He says, opinions are like armpits.
Yes, yeah.
Everybody has them, and sometimes they really stink.
Yes.
We got to watch.
Say that again. I think that one will go down very well, please.
Opinions are like armpits. We all have them, and sometimes they really stink.
Yeah, it's so true.
We've got to watch the opinions that we're letting into our lives.